Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, everyone's upset. Unkillable is dead. I'll tell you what, we've been working hard in the HH Gaming team to try and bring Unkillable back on the map. And actually with some unlikely heroes to come in and do the mix. So, all those people that were kind of running the double man-eater comp and pretty much, the change to the twins put it to sleep. I tell you now, we've got a couple of interesting options coming through the team to try and help you out. So I've actually based this comp on a video that Deadwood Jedi did on his site, which was about the Deacon Eater. Yeah, so it's utilizing Deacon as your speed lead. And he is running at a nice 207, a pretty comfortable 207 speed. The only mastery I want on him is Steadfast. We have got ourselves two man-eaters, both with the same mastery again, running at a pretty comfortable 269 speed. It's actually quite fast, but that's the same speed you would have been running at for any of the Unkillable teams before. So they're basically forming the Unkillable comp. And then you've got two DPSs. Now, the first one is actually going to be where pretty much all of our damage comes from. It's the Brawler. And the Brawler needs to be built with stacked tons of accuracy. He needs to be able to land his poison. Yeah, so far this is the same as what Deadwood had kind of talked about in the past, before Unkillable was destroyed, making sure he's got the 196 speed or there or thereabouts. There's actually a little bit of kind of flex either side, and then over the 550 accuracy ideally, which is hard to do. You need basically 6 pieces of accuracy gear. You need to make sure that you've got an accuracy banner. You need accuracy coming in on the amulet. You need to go down the mastery tree and pick up accuracy as well. I'd say it's also important to get your Master Hexer out there to extend poisons. That's where your damage is coming from. So that's like the 4-man squad. But this DPSer could be someone else, but Brawler fits it really well because he's the same affinity as Deke, and he's the same affinity as the unlikely last hero in this team, Nodgar the Headhunter. And basically, he's in the mix because of a funky passive. And I've tried this same type of comp with champions like Bushy and Torture Helm and stuff. Their passive is on actually too long a cooldown, albeit we're still working on some different ideas. But basically, Nodgar has got this revive this champion with half his health, half his turn meter, if the rest of the team are alive. So if you can focus the Iron Twins to always hit Nodgar when he's going to ignore Unkillable, then your Unkillable team prevails. It keeps going. And because it's on a 1-turn cooldown, it always gets a turn before the boss kind of comes at you again. So pretty funky, actually. Pretty cool to get a use for someone like a Nodgar. And all we're going to be doing is just A1-ing. Yeah, I don't want him to be doing these buffs or any of that type of stuff. Don't want any of that nasty stuff going on. We've got him in a toxic set, so it gives us more poison damage. And his masteries, I've just gone down here to try and extend the poisons. That's all. Nothing else matters. Poison is our damage. Everything else is kind of building the Unkillable team. And then when he starts ignoring Unkillable at 40%, Nodgar needs to be the target. So everybody else has got Steadfast, which the Iron Twins would see as a buff, except Nodgar. So basically, we want the boss to always go after Nodgar. And one of the cool things here is Nodgar is the same affinity as Deke, same affinity as Occult Brawler. So we've actually got either neutral or the same affinity when we need it. The only thing I've not been able to test yet is whether this is going to work against Force affinity. So when the Iron Twins see this champion as a threat, this affinity as a threat, is he going to go after the Man-Eaters? I don't know the answer. I'm hoping that Steadfast pushes the Iron Twins to still go after Nodgar, but I'm not sure. Let me just talk you through the setup quick, because this is important. Again, this is based on Deadwood's work. I've just kind of evolved it into a new concept. So, this is based on the Deacon Eater that's been around for a while. So we open with Deacon's A1. No actual point in using that. Open with Deacon's A1, but we prioritize the A3. Nodgar, we just A1 the whole time. First Man-Eater, we open with the A3, and then we turn off the A2. The second one, we open with the A1. This is where we need a little bit of manual intervention. We actually have to A1 a second time. So we have to kind of come in manual for one hit. Then it'll be full auto from there on. And then the second one also prioritizes the A3. And the Brawler, we just turn off the A2. So let's get this in the mix, get this going. So we're on a worst affinity for us right now, but poison is our damage, so it doesn't really matter. See here, I'm letting it run full auto for now. I'm going to turn auto off in a second, just after the second hit from the boss. So turn auto off here. Second hit from the boss comes in. We're going to A1 with our man-eater, and then we're back on full auto, and away we go again. Okay? That's all we have to do. That's the only intervention we have to do. And really, we're just relying on the Toxic Gear to apply poisons here. We're relying on Occult Brawler's passive to apply poisons, because even though this is the worst affinity, his passive will still apply poisons. It doesn't matter for that because it's a place. And basically, we're just letting it roll. It's going to be slow, by the way. It's not like a quick run, but all of our damage, we basically want to be done through poison. So you know, none of these guys have got War Master or anything like that on. We don't want them hitting the thresholds, because it could actually wipe your team if you do hit the thresholds with damage. And we're just relying on all of these poisons to tick along. Now, at the moment, Nodgar can't die because he's unkillable. It's not until we hit the 40% threshold of the Iron Twins where he starts to ignore Unkillable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this run down. I'm going to let us get to that 40%, and then I'll bring you back in so you can kind of see the interaction with Nodgar. It might even spike some different ideas for you guys around other champions that could do something similar. And if you do get any ideas, please leave a comment down below, because we're trying to work on as many different teams like this that we can. There's one more which I'm working on right now, which I'm hoping is going to work. So far, I've not got it working properly, but it is going to be a fun one. But anyway, I'll let this run through to 40%, and I'll bring you back in. Okay, I'm just bringing you back in. I said it was going to be slow. It is slow. Yeah, this is not a quick run. But as far as I can see so far, it is 100%. So we're now in the mix where... Have I got to the 40% yet? Not quite yet. I'm pretty damn close anyway. It's going to start to get to the point. I think it might have just had the reset, the 40% reset there. So he should now start ignoring Unkillable, I believe, with his A1. When that happens, we're hoping he's going after Nodgar. And you'll see the way this works. Yeah, down he goes. Back he comes. Back he comes. He's got his half health. He needs to take another turn, which he always does because of his 50% turn meter, so that he's back in the mix for the next time he wants to do it. As I say, I've tried this with Bushy, and Bushy failed because his cooldown was just too long. It was like a 3-turn cooldown. And he pops back up with Unkillable, which works, by the way. But it was like 1 turn out with his cooldown. And unfortunately, it just didn't work. It just didn't work. I think there might be something in it if we could find a speed tune that worked for it. And as I say, we're still kind of working on stuff. But Nodgar so far is the one that we got this to work with as a like 100% comp. And it's probably going to end up being, I don't know, close to 10 minutes or so. He's down. He's up. He loves life. He loves to live. As long as the rest of the team are alive, he's still going. And the rest of the comp remains active. It remains on sync, which is obviously the main thing with any sort of unkillable setup. You want to make sure that everything else is sinking in. Down he goes. Back he comes. He's never been dead so many times in a day. But at least he's being used. Yeah. He just lives in a vault. So all of a sudden he's like, ah, great. I don't mind dying a ton if at least I get some playtime, which is what he's getting right here. As I say, the only thing that I fear for this comp is Force Affinity, and I've not been able to test it yet. But I'm hoping that the Steadfast Mastery might, and also like the lack of defensive stats. This guy's full offense. The lack of defensive stats will just kind of like steer the Iron Twins into Nodgar's path anyway. And I would say if you've not already leveled your Nodgar, I would keep him at level 50 or less, but with that Toxic Gear on, because that will just help the Iron Twins always kind of go after that vulnerable champion. But that's going to be it. As I say, it's a bit of a niche one. Obviously, you need to have a legendary champion in your roster to make that work. But we are looking at different options right now. And hopefully we keep coming at you with some different unkillable teams that kind of make use of the comp that you was running before. And we can only hope and pray that Clarium give us access back to our unkillable teams. But I thought this was a cool one. It's a long one. And I guess let's just check the damage out at the end. So there we go. Iron Twins dead. It only takes 1 full hour to do your 6 keys. No problem. But anyway, it's an interesting team, right? I've been Hell Hades. I'll see you later.